Hey guys, so today's video is going to be low-key controversial to some people. I know a lot of people are not going to like this, but the name of the video is Should We Be Mad at Adam? So Adam was born a man, not a child. Eve was born a woman, not a child. And Eve came from his rib. God spoke to Adam like friends speak to friends, meaning the relationship was not formal. He did this to prove a point and a need for us, why we need parents, a childhood, and a savior. Raise up a child in the way they should go and they will not depart from it. God gave us the earth to take dominion and steward well what we have been given. He gave us good and evil so that we can choose through Christ who are free from the curse of the law, which is death. There are many people with big bodies, but they're like a child, just like Adam and Eve. They haven't progressed at all, and it is very important to use your position to gain sympathy for Adam and Eve because you had a choice, they didn't. I got saved when I was 223. My parents did not introduce me to God, didn't do Bible study, etc. Moral of the story: through Jesus, a way was birthed. If God knows your parents won't do it, He will come to you personally to raise you up as His child. When your parents forsake you, the Lord will take you up. The problem is that, stop it! The problem is that when people don't grow, it's because they did not answer the call from God, so there is no excuse. All things are possible through Christ who strengthens us, so it's important to know that it is good to have both your parents and God, but not everybody will have both. And God 100% prefers people parentless but relying on Him. Zuri and Mapenzi. Bad boys. Stop it. Stop. That is the choice Adam and Eve had. They didn't have parents, but they had God. They chose to ignore the call. Due to the ignorance and heeding of seducing spirits, they ended up cursed by their own doing. God won't come with a huge formality out of your capabilities at a young age due to our tender mind and wandering capabilities, but He will come clearly to a person's capabilities due to His nature, whether you want to be or not, because it's for our protection. He literally showed up face to face and told him plainly and cleanly, no parables, and they chose to disobey. So what I mean by this is God is going to encounter you in a way where He knows you have the capability of understanding. And it's not going to be hugely, formal. Initially. God wanted me to add initially. But there are lots of things in life we'll never be able to control because we aren't the creator. There are a lot of things we can heed to make sure we're walking in the will of God, though, safe and in His provision. A lot of people don't like to respect that hierarchy, and that's why they end up cursed. If you got to get cursed to understand God is serious, you will get cursed because He stands on business. The difference is you led yourself there. God did not curse Adam and Eve for no reason. God warned them of His word and His provision and let them know in life there's repercussions. If you go down this path, it will lead you to being cursed. The difference is you decided to go there. It's just like going to the store and stealing. Obviously, if you steal and you get caught, you're going to jail. And a lot of people choose to do that, and a lot of people choose to follow the rules. Is that in our control? So how come when it comes to God, the creator of everything, you can't follow His rules? It's that demonic rebellion. You can follow every rule, but you have to rebel against God. Wickedness. Take accountability and stop blaming people for your actions because you will be held accountable for that too. Not only will you be held accountable for walking away from God, disobeying God, but also blaming God. and not taking responsibility. That's 4 things you could get blamed with just by disobeying. The small things God put in us are seeds to secure our future responses and prayer times. So it's very important to understand that small obediences that the Lord is inquiring for you to pretty much accomplish is for your own good, even no matter how small it is. Look at all that God gave Adam and Eve. They disobeyed with one thing. Look at what happened. Everything wilted. In the Bible, it says God cursed the fig tree in 24 hours and it withered. When you're cursed, everything dries up. I already read that. The small things in our hearts contemplate on our seeds. God, the small things on our heart. What? The small thing our hearts contemplate on are seeds God uses to keep us, to help us. Let me read this over. Oh my goodness. The small things our hearts contemplate on are seeds God uses to help us get kingdom laws and provisions in us for dangers of demonic infiltrations of the future. So what this basically means is there could be little things that bother you, like if Adam and Eve just decided to ask God, hey, could you please explain to me why I can't have this tree? Because part of me wants a piece. What's so bad about this? But instead, they didn't heed. I just choked. Instead, they did not heed to those things. I need water. Instead, they did not heed. And God will allow that seed to be in you, those questions to be in you, so that He can give you kingdom laws and provision for future dangers of demonic infiltration in the future. This is why God didn't say we should be weary. He said we shouldn't be weary in well doing, for in due time we'll reap a harvest if we faint not. How do we do well? By walking in the will of God. So it's so important to read things in context, because a lot of people they have this weariness, and when God gives you the provision, the clarity, the understanding, the revelation, it will cause you to not be weary. And a lot of people like to be like, oh, we'll be free, we'll just do whatever we want to do, we shouldn't worry, and we shouldn't. God never said. This is why God didn't say we should be weary. This is why God didn't say we should be weary. He said we should not be weary in well doing, for in due time we shall reap a harvest if we faint not. Those that catch it, catch it. Those that don't. I'm not going to explain it. That was a prophetic message for somebody. But immaturity will cause you to exploit. Inequity will cause you to exploit. Don't be like Adam and Eve. Follow God. Let God lead. Study His word and try it true. The need to exploit will go down. So now you aren't looking at idols or letting somebody come into your life and enthrone themselves as an idol. You will have strength, tenacity, endurance, persistence, and all the other wonderful provisions God provides that will bring you to an expected end. So it's so important to allow God to raise you up and be mature. Answer your questions. We shouldn't be having a bunch of questions unanswered. God tells us that we should not be weary in well doing, for in due time we'll reap a harvest if we faint not, which means God will raise you up into who you're supposed to be to bring you to an expected end. So just make sure that you really check your attitude and check yourself, because a lot of people be having those kind of, I gotta talk with Adam, and it's like, no, you need to talk with yourself. You need to get in the will of God and do what you're supposed to do and stop trying to exploit things, because a lot of people love using the Bible as justification for sin when it could never be. You will land yourself in hell. So should we be mad at Adam? No.